Get ready, get set for the best movie and pop culture talk in the universe. It's The Good Brothers on Mercado Airwaves with your hosts, Alex Mercado and Mike Mercado.
What is up, friends? Welcome in to another episode of The Good Brothers. I'm your host, Mike Mercado, as always, joined with the good brother himself, Alex Mercado. What's going on, Alex?
How you doing, good brother?
Everything is everything, my friend. We have a jam-packed show for everybody today. It is the most anticipated show that we've had on our docket since we started this thing. Alex, it's a review of Justice League, and we even get a chance to talk about Netflix's Punisher. I'm excited about this episode. There's only one more episode that I think I'm more excited about when it comes to a Good Brothers, and that's obviously Star Wars. But this right here, these two heavy hitters, I am super pumped. How you feeling before we get into things?
Yeah, it was a long weekend. It was a very fun weekend. You know, obviously it's fun. Gonna get see Justice League first night, opening night. That's fun. And as soon as I get home, I wait the 2 hours and I catch the first two episodes. And I basically binge up until last night. And it was very fun. Like, I enjoyed both so much. Plus, there was the big WWE weekend. You know, we're big WWE fans. So overall, it was very fun.
Walking Dead.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, Walking Dead was a little slow this week. But again, at least there was content.
Yeah, and we're going to
so
talk,
fun.
And we're going to go heavy on Justice League. We have a lot of thoughts about the Tadpole movie that is for the DC and Warner Brothers company. And then we get a chance to talk about a highly anticipated Netflix Marvel Universe show in Punisher. We got a lot of thoughts. Some of it's going to get heated, guys. We want to know exactly what you guys think after you've seen both. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Do us a huge favor. Like, rate, review, and share us on iTunes. Be a part of the conversation on YouTube. Just subscribe to us at youtube.com/Mike Mercado 2333. And just in case you're new here to Mercado Airwaves, all of our shows are brought to you by our amazing producers over at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. There you can get the first access to episodes of Pizza Night with Nick and Mike, The Good Brothers, and every one of our interviews with champions and some of the greats from UFC and in Hollywood. Guys, it's going to be a fun show. Stay tuned. It's The Good Brothers here on Mercado Airwaves.
If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, Mike Mercado 2333. You can follow Alex on Twitter at Mercado21Alex. Mercado Airwaves is brought to you by supporters at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves.
So it's been a crazy road for a lot of people in the nerd kingdom. For a lot of people who have been fans of the source material that is superhero comic book films. From way back in the day to where we're at now, there are certain things that I don't think anybody really thought could happen. And over this weekend, finally, in a culmination of years for fandoms, whether or not deservingly within its own universe, Justice League, directed by Zack Snyder with some help with Joss Whedon, starring Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Ray Fisher, Jason Momoa, Henry Cavill, Ezra Miller, J.K. Simmons, Jeremy Irons, Amy Adams, a stacked cast, came out this weekend. And Alex, let's get right into it, good brother. What you thought?
I loved it. I thought this was a movie that I'm going to say off the bat was probably, it was destroyed by critics. And I think it's very unfair. And also we're talking about Punisher later, which also is getting a little heat from the critics. And I think that has something to do with it. It's like, you know, people go in and people don't know about this CGI until they're told to look for it. So problem is they're going in with a very narrow view now. Now they're looking for mistakes instead of having fun. Because at the end of the day, the fun of this movie so much outweighs the bad. Like, this movie's literally like watching the old Justice League cartoons expanded on the big screen. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think the first thing I said to you after the movie, sitting there waiting for the post-credits is, I don't get it. Like, Batman vs. Superman, I understood why it wasn't liked by some people. I loved it. Mm-hmm. All the DC movies that have been a little hated on beside Wonder Woman, I understood the flaws in it. I didn't get it. I don't get it. I think personally this movie's going to make a little more money this weekend, but overall, it is disappointing. Still going to make a lot of money. It's going to make a lot of money overseas. I don't think we're going to reboot any of this anytime soon. But overall, go watch it. It's fun. It's great. You're going to have a great time watching this.
Now, hold a lot of those thoughts because a lot of things that you just said I want to dissect, I really want to get into. This is our chance to really get a chance to get into the DC universe really fast before we say what we liked and what we didn't like. Everybody who's listened to me and all the shows that we've done before the Good Brothers knows how I feel about Batman and knows how I felt coming out of Batman versus Superman. Guys, straight up, I love Justice League. And this is coming from one of the harsher critics of Batman versus Superman. I love this source material. I love these characters. I spend my Tuesday nights with the Flash. I've spent my childhood with Batman and Superman. Like you said, Justice League. Kevin Conroy was part of our childhood growing up. Like these characters, these mythos were a daily part of what it was maybe for the people in the 70s for Star Wars in the 80s. And to see what admittedly is a flawed film, what admittedly is a film with many issues. Man, I can't sit here and tell you don't go see this movie. I can't sit here and tell you you won't have fun. I can't sit here and tell you that you're going to fall in love with these characters. I also can't tell you that this isn't a thespian movie. I can't tell you that this is an Oscar movie. But if you want to sit here and try to compare and spend your time downgrading a movie because, I don't know, you like the Avengers more, or because you didn't like Ben Affleck as Batman, or because there's just some weird biasness towards it, I think for the first legit time, when all these internet conspiracies and whatnot, I think there's some validity in this idea that there's hate for the sake of hating. And that's what I think you see in Justice League. Admittedly, a flawed film, but the goods just outweigh it by so much more. And I want to dive deep into that. Alex, what did you like about this movie? What did you love about this movie?
I think the best thing about the movie, and I think overall what everyone's consensus, the characters are great. Every single character has their moment to shine. Even, I know Cyber was getting a lot of hate. He looks bad. First of all, people, he looks fine.
Yeah, he did.
There's nothing. And this whole Henry Cavill mustache, you will not know it.
I disagree with
look
that.
For it.
I'll get into that.
Again, but these characters were great. It's probably the best character Superman we've seen. He was in the movie for, let's say, 15, 20 minutes. He's great in those 15, 20 minutes. Probably better than we've seen him even in Man of Steel. And I love Man of Steel. You love Man of Steel. He was great. His 20 minutes were great. Wonder Woman, great. Ben Affleck, great. I think we leave saying Ben Affleck, don't leave us at the end of this because he does such a good job. And, Ray Fisher, great. Ezra Miller, which he had to go against a very good Grant Gustafson on the TV
CW
Flash. And I think he does an even better job because he is more dynamic. He does more to it. Aquaman, of course, we both went in very hyped for him.
Yeah.
And I think leaving now, we're even more hyped.
It pays off. He pays off as the character.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's just amazing.
So, one of the things that I really enjoyed about this movie is the understanding that you don't need to be Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight. I think Zack Snyder has a very specific form of storytelling, which comes off dark and brooding and almost bleak. That's the style of movie he makes. Give me any movie in his filmography that isn't like that. That's what he likes. That's what he
He's just got a style.
He's got a style, and he's good at it. Now, what happened in this movie, the unfortunate thing that I think happened in this movie is we didn't get one focus, vision, idea. But I think what you saw there is he understood that all people want is to smile and be enthralled by these heroes they've grown up with. So every single time you see the Flash move, you're wondering, what's he going to do next? What next line is he going to drop? What is he bringing to this universe? Same thing with Cyborg. You're trying to grow with him because you're trying to figure out what he knows his purpose is. How much man is he? How much machine is he? And obviously with Wonder Woman, Zack Snyder has definitely had some love and tenderness with this character when it comes to protecting her and giving her some shine. And obviously what we saw with Patty Jenkins and Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot just embodies that character and you see it come off the screen. But on top of how great Momoa and Gadot and Fisher and Miller were, the best part of the movie, sharing the best part of the movie with the Flash is Batman, is Ben Affleck. And it goes to my negatives, and I want to get your thoughts on this, but I have it on my notes, so we'll get to it in a little while. But it was the first time it looked like he was having fun in the series, and that came off the screen. It looked like all of them were having fun together, and chemistry, I think, is the word everybody's going to start using about it. Their chemistry was phenomenal in this movie.
Yeah, it was as close to perfect as you can get, honestly.
It was as close to an Avengers type of if you're going to compare it to something we're in that mold.
Chemistry-wise, yeah, it's on that level.
Right,
it's on that level of team-ups, yes.
So I think the problem, Alex, with this movie, and it's not a negative, it's not a positive. I think to me, it's just a realization of the movie is all you can say when you're talking about this movie is how much fun it was, that the characters are good, that you're going to enjoy it, that there's something there, there's enough there. The problem, and this is now days after watching it and having time to think about it, not a moment, but what about the movie is special? There's awesome in the movie, what makes it an awesome movie. But I wonder, is it special? And not just for the namesake of it being a Justice League movie and there's scenes that we see with the characters that we love, because that's awesome.
No, I get what you're saying, but yes, it's very special.
Sure, go ahead.
Because, people always talk about we want new. And DC tried doing something new where it's like, guess what? We didn't get these solo movies before, guys. We didn't get a Man of Steel 2 first. Sure. But guess what? You're still going to fall in love with the Flash and Cyborg. And now we're leaving, and what's everyone saying? You know what? I want to see a Flash movie. I do want to see Cyborg show up. I can't wait for the new Aquaman movie and Wonder Woman 2 by Patty Jenkins. So I think that is special. And I think maybe, again, going into what the only negative for me in this movie was that we knew too much about this movie. And that's just the world we live in nowadays. Sure. Yeah. It's like, I think if we go into this movie and none of that news comes out, then maybe, this movie doesn't go much more up, but it does go up. I think the problem is you go into this, and it's not critics' fault. I'm going even beyond that. It's WB's fault that, it's not fun watching a movie with Affleck sometimes. Like, he does distract us, but we're always thinking, is this it for him? And then we're also
real.
Yeah, and then we're also thinking, like, well, whose movie is this? Is it Joss Whedon? Is it Zack Snyder? Like, you have Snyder haters who are mad, and you have the same lovers who are mad for the same exact reason. So, it's one of those things where, like, you wish you didn't know as much going into this movie, because it's, hindsight 2020. Would that have changed the reaction? Had we not known and found this after, would we have been like, oh, no, we still liked it? And, like, that's crazy to think about. And
credit to those who have brought up the fact that it hasn't been like some other divisive films, especially within this universe. Like, the audience and the critic score are they're just all over the place. And, like, yeah, you could skew numbers to say whatever story you want to, but at the end of the day, when it comes to something like Justice League, the expectation, whether the expectation going into the movie, the expectation of the fallout is it's memorable, it's loving, there's endearment to it. I think a lot of people love this movie. I think a lot of people this is the problem. It's an old wrestling thing for anybody who's a wrestling fan. So I don't think a lot of people hate this movie. I think a lot of people don't care about this movie.
And I think that goes to the whole fact that we just talked about before the show, is that maybe it would have been a better idea to put it a week later, because I think that we're nerds and we assume, oh man, a Thor and Hawk movie and Justice League, we're going to go to both. We're planning that.
Why not months later?
Possibly. I think that's the problem, is that the common movie fan, like our parents, they do go to the movies once a month only. If that, like maybe not even. And if people, like, obviously Thor 3, people got great reviews, made a lot of money, people went to see that. I don't think there was any insight to be like, well, Wonder Woman was good, but the last 3 movies were okay. I don't have to see this one right now. I can wait till it comes out on Blu-ray. Like, BVS made a lot of money on their Blu-rays.
Of course.
I can wait. Like, let's say, I think we're going to see a big weekend. We'll talk about it next week on the show, how it does over Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I want to see what it does.
I want to see if it's one of those movies that people were just like, let's wait till next week when we're a little more free, got a little more open time to go check out the movies. But that doesn't help. And a little movie like Wonder, which I do want to see, makes $30 million, and it goes to show you, it's a little more upbeat. It's happy. It's got a great message, got great actors. Julia Roberts sells to an older crowd, to a younger crowd even. So maybe timing. But that's not, I can't blame timing only, but that is a factor. If we don't think that's a factor, I think we're overestimating the amount of time people go to movies, honestly.
Yeah, and that's of course being in your own echo chamber of like thinking people do the same stuff as you. Now, I also have a theory that maybe one of the reasons that it's not performing as well as everybody thought it was, and I don't think it's the only reason, but I think a legit reason, and I think a lot of us underestimated and underplayed it. People knew Ben Affleck didn't want to play Batman anymore. And there's only maybe one other character in all of cinema, especially in the United States, that when you hear an actor doesn't want to play, you're kind of like, what's wrong with this dude? Like, you don't want to play Batman? Like,
you're Craig James Bond?
I would actually say Jesus Christ is the next character in the movie that anybody you would wonder is like, why doesn't he want to play Jesus Christ in a movie? It's like Batman and Jesus Christ are the two characters like you've never seen a good actor push down.
I would have gone James Bond, but
no, I'm going to go Jesus Christ.
It's a little weird.
Batman and Jesus Christ. So I think there was legit heat for another wrestler.
I think people are already looking like, hey, this isn't working out. They're going to reboot it or change it anyway. And I agree, that is a little disheartening. Like, again, we're going to watch these movies regardless.
Yeah.
We watch Green Lantern. So, I think at this point, we're going to watch whatever any superhero movie comes out to give it the benefit of the doubt. We watched Fantastic Four. I watched that again last night. We could do a whole show about disappointing comic book movies, but that is disheartening. I think as a fan, like even you and me feel it's like, man, Ben Affleck, you're doing a great job, but if you're gone, then I got to get attached to someone else anyway. I get it. I do get that point of yours. It's like, it's hard to get through a movie knowing that maybe the star might not be there.
And I'm a fan of the big star. I love all his moves. I love his directing. I think he's one of the top tier guys in the industry.
Do you think that if he had gone into this movie saying this is my last movie, would it be that as disheartening, or is it more the fact that we don't know what's going on with him? For sure.
I think the film has its own enough problems where it had its own destiny already planned out because of the movie it was. But yeah, I think had he gone in and we're like, oh, this is Ben Affleck's last Batman, let's check it out, let's go see how it is. There's a gimmick to it.
Yeah.
I also think there is a positive to it, but I also think that is just a gimmick. That at some point the bell rings and you have to perform. And the performance of the movie, while I enjoyed it, while you enjoyed it, while there's some of the best moments in superhero films ever are in this movie.
Yep.
Man, it's so lukewarm. And I'm looking back at it, I'm like, Justice League has no business being a lukewarm movie. And I think that's unfortunately what has happened.
Yeah, I guess that's the opinion of lukewarm. Again, movies are decisive. It's your opinion.
It's totally an opinion.
Because I loved it.
And I love that. And this is coming from somebody who loves it.
And obviously we have our little brother. He's probably a harsher critic than even you are.
Yeah.
He went into this for 3 weeks saying it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. It's his favorite superhero movie of the year.
Yeah.
And personally, it's fighting for it. I had to sleep on it, but I had the most fun than any other superhero movie this year.
It's fun. I think I had more.
And I take that into consideration. Because I think that the only movie that compares to it still is Logan.
I think Logan's hands down.
I think Thor was a great comedy. I think this movie had just enough funny parts and better action scenes that I liked it better than Thor.
That's fair, yeah.
But
that's fair.
Let's talk about this real quick. Is the whole, is it Zack Snyder's final cut? And I think people don't realize he doesn't have a final cut. No. He's got deleted scenes maybe. But
it depends on what.
It was a mixed movie, and I'll admit this right now. We're big Zack Snyder fans.
Yeah.
His action scenes were amazing in the movie.
Now
they were great. He does a great job of it.
I think personally, my big issue with the whole Zack Snyder Joss Whedon thing is something that I'm looking back at with hindsight being 2020. I think if you were going to get rid of Snyder one way or the other. Or he had that tragedy happen with his daughter. I know people say now, but you should have given him more time. And even if it wasn't because you want to refilm the whole movie, you still want to keep it as a Zack Snyder film. Give somebody the opportunity to get his feet underneath him and not have a finish line that's less than a year to finish the Justice League. And again, if anybody could do it, it's the guy who came up with the Avengers. My point is, you did both guys disservice. Because the movie's not good enough to put on Joss Whedon or Zack Snyder. The film is admittedly flawed enough that you can give your opinion on both of them. And it could be a detriment to both directors. And I think that's an issue. I think Warner Brothers dropped the ball with the Zack Snyder, Joss Whedon thing. And that's been up my crawl since.
I think we've both been saying, we both have different reasons. You have a little more reasons. I don't really find as many flaws with it. But I think our biggest flaw was WB did not handle this right.
No.
And I think I think after a while that's the common thing is they haven't handled anything well. Yeah. And even Wonder Woman, they didn't handle it well. Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot made that movie, and the people made that movie, but WB got lucky with that because they almost destroyed that too.
But it's funny though because I trust James Wan and Jason Momoa for Aquaman.
I think exactly. It's only going up. They learned Patty Jenkins set the trail now, and this again we got to mention this movie was made before that Wonder Woman movie. So it was kind of in a weird time of
it wasn't and it wasn't.
It feels like it's two different universes where we got the Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and half of Justice League coming in. And then you got the BVS, Suicide Squad, other half of Justice League. So it's a little weird, but again, I think going forward, we're both very positive. They're going to make enough money. They're not rebooting this, people. We're going to get this. We probably will get a new Batman, but we're not. They're not going to reboot it. There's a lot to be excited about. So I think it's okay to get excited.
So we're already 20 minutes into this thing. So what I want to do is I want to take a quick break. What we're going to do is when we come back, we're going to hit the spoiler heavy part of this. You and I are going to go ahead and just talk about what our favorite scenes were, our favorite moments. Let's pay some bills. When we get back, let's talk about some of our favorite scenes in Justice League.
You can follow Alex on Twitter at Mercado21Alex. If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Mercado Airwaves is brought to you by supporters at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves.
All right, Alex, so what was your favorite part of Justice League?
Man, on the spot. Oh, it's tough because I love the first battle we meet them in. The ending's phenomenal. The Superman fight. Oh, spoiler alert, Superman's back. If you didn't know that, then...
I already put enough warnings up there. This is a spoiler.
He's back. So
who would have thought?
He was great. Like, them trying to fight him and him really being a badass. And, again, some of the best Superman we've seen. So, but if I had to pick one, favorite scene, it's got to be when they're all on top of Gotham Police Department.
Okay.
We get the old Danny Elfman theme from the original Batman.
That was sick.
And I had taken a bathroom break before this because obviously where I work at, I drink a gallon of water. That's how much water I had. I never took a break. But I knew I was going to have at least 3 minutes before they got to that scene because it's in the previews. And I walk in and you just see Batman drop and the song play. And I'm running up like smiling at you like, hey, it's the song. It's the song. You hear it?
That's all it was.
And so I'm going to have to go with that. Obviously all the action's great, but like that was just so... Like, you couldn't help but smile. Yeah. Everyone in the theater's like, the whole theme.
And then you got it during when the Batmobile comes out, and then you get John Williams' Superman theme a little bit. So there was a lot of cool nerd out moments.
That was me. What about you?
My favorite moment in the movie is the fight scene when Superman is revived, and you see, I'm a Flash mark. I'm sorry. So when you see the Flash going around trying to trip him, and they do, I don't know if it was Snyder. I don't know if it was Whedon.
That's Snyder. I think that's Snyder because he's
just because it's a slow motion doesn't mean that kind of humor of like seeing Ezra's
that whole
face.
Scene I think is Snyder though.
So you know what? Let's say it's both of them. Let's give them both credit because that's what the Warner Brothers did. They're not going to tell us who did what. So the directors and Ezra Miller do and even Henry Cavill the way he played the straight man in that scene. So you have Aquaman and Cyborg and Wonder Woman like on top of Superman, and the Flash makes his dash around and he's going around. And just as he thinks he's going to get to Superman, the camera does this trick where it's focusing in on Clark's eyes. And you just see his pupils
slowly in his slow flash time. Flash.
And the face Ezra Miller makes is literally the face everybody in the movie theater made. They're like, oh no, they gave
the Christmas Story. Oh, fudge.
But it wasn't fudge.
Exactly. I think two more scenes that were great and just so fun was when we get to see the original battle with the Atlanteans, the Amazons, and the Man. And again, guess what we get? We get a Green Lantern.
That was really cool.
We get an old school Green Lantern that does die, but we get the ring. Like we've established, guess what, guys? The Green Lantern Corps exists, and we also get the gods. And guess who gets power from the gods? Shazam. Yeah. So now, that was fun.
For anybody listening, please leave us a comment. We want to know who... If you spot anybody that nobody's been talking about yet in these fight scenes, like Alex said, you saw Green Lantern.
We think we got them. We got Zeus.
Zeus was
lightning. One. There was a big dude in the back. I'm not sure who he was. I don't think it's Ares. It could have been Hercules. There was a few characters. I think if I go watch it again, I'll be able to, which I will watch it again tomorrow night with my friends.
Yeah.
I'll try to see if I can find any more, but those were the ones we saw very special.
Yeah.
Great scene. And then I think the last one that really stuck out to me, beside the big fight scenes, was when they're getting ready to go to the final battle in the little Russian town.
Okay.
And Jason Momoa, the whole movie's being kind of cool.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, he starts monologuing. And we're just listening to his monologue, and he's being dead honest. He's like, basically, you're cool, you're cool, you're cool, you're hot, we're probably going to die. And you find out he's sitting on Wonder Woman's lasso.
So good.
Made him tell the truth. Little one-liner at the end with Ezra Miller talking out. He's going to hurt him if he ever says anything.
So good.
Just such good chemistry and such a great scene to get you ready for the final battle.
And like only only Jason Momoa could get away with looking
So
at Wonder Woman
good.
and being like, God, you're gorgeous. And I'm like,
and you kick ass.
you're
Like, he's just calling it
so
out.
good.
And you're sitting the whole time like, man, where's this coming from? And then you see the shining light, and it's just Ben Affleck plays the humor well. Like, it was just such a, again, fun scene.
Favorite scene, one of my favorite scenes in this movie, when I got past Bad Mustache Gate,
It wasn't that bad.
was when Clark grabs Batman and takes him up in there. He's like, you won't let me live. You won't let me die.
Let me ask, do you bleed? I was like,
You
oh my
believe?
God.
And I like the movie. This was what's great about going to premieres that are with diehard fans. This is what's good about going to those showings. Everybody in that movie theater knew everything. There was one scene when this little woman in front of us, she looked a tiny little thing, was sitting there, and now I'm totally blanking out on it. A character shows up and she geeked out. Do you remember a certain scene? It'll come back to me as we talk about it, but like that's what that movie was.
Because we'll get to the end credits, but I think that's what's fun. And like, because the theater was packed.
Yes,
we went
it was an
to.
end credit. Good. Okay,
The
thank
theater
you.
we went
Yes.
to was packed, and I think that like obviously the money didn't show, so I think it's like nerds. The nerds, true nerds, came out in numbers, and there's this great video on Twitter. If you can find it, it's great. It's a screening of Justice League. Dude walks in, he's filming, he yells, Martha. And the whole crowd starts laughing. And out of nowhere, you hear this other guy say, why did you say that name? And that's one of those jokes that you only get on opening night of like people get these jokes. And it's fun and it's a fun atmosphere. So I'm going to let you get to it. Let's talk about those end credit scenes.
Because my favorite post-credit scene, my favorite scene in a DC movie to this point, I have no... I don't even have to think twice about it. A close second is Batman's warehouse scene in BVS.
Yeah.
My favorite scene is 30 seconds. It's the second post credit. It's the first post credits in Justice League. So yeah, let's do it in order. You get so this whole time, Flash and Superman kind of have amazing little scenes. You know, like in Russia, Flash
saves a car, people. Superman saves a building full
of people, and you kind of see them laughing at each other. And they kind of make, just like in the fights, and they kind of like tease who's faster. Well, sure enough, we get Flash and Superman standing in the middle of a field in what looks to be Smallville, and they're talking about first to the Pacific Ocean and back wins. And of course, Ezra Miller, right on point, points to the Atlantic Ocean, and Clark has to point him the right
Classic
direction.
comic book moment, too.
And if there's ever the greatest GIF moment in history is watching the Flash, Ezra Miller, and Henry Cavill's Superman running at you and flying at you.
Because you never think you're going to get that on big screen, and you're looking at it. And like you get just enough, you're like, wow, what a nice throwback. But
it made me smile, like warmed my heart.
I like the second credit scene because this whole time we're going into it thinking, hey, Lex Luthor's on this movie and Deathstroke's not in this movie, and guess what happens?
Sure enough, and like this goes into the story that we were telling you earlier. Is the post credit scene starts where you've gone through all the credits of your set of credits, and you see a wide shot open up to a boat on the lake in what looks to be either Metropolis or Gotham. And
I believe Metropolis.
But they're in the harbor, so they're like right next to each other.
Because apparently they're right across the harbor from each other.
Who would have thought?
I totally forgot that.
Anyway, God damn, I hate PBS. So you see a little flap in the wind, and this the woman right in front of it is like, oh my God, it's Deathstroke. And everybody, literally, I get goosebumps thinking about it. You're like, if you watch Teen Titans, if you watch the Arrowverse, if you've played any Batman video game,
you know who Deathstroke is.
This is the guy.
And plus, when Ben Affleck was still excited about being Batman, we put this almost over a year ago. We put this on the internet that he's going to be Deathstroke. And guess what, guys? This whole time they underplayed it. They said neither of these guys are going to be in the movie, and they got us. And guess what? They're both in the movie.
Lex Luthor. So sure enough, Deathstroke pulls up to a boat, and when he comes out, you see a bald-headed, just escaped Lex Luthor, played by Jesse Eisenberg again, who I think he's ready. I think he's there. I think he knows what the hell he wants to do with this character.
I think I enjoyed the character, actually.
Now, I'm going to butcher his name, but Joel Magnolania, dude from True Blood, who was a werewolf. He's married to Sofia Vergara.
Yeah, Sofia Vergara's husband. He's great.
Flash Gordon in the first Spider-Man. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. There you go. There's a little.
He's around. He's always around.
Sure enough, Magic Mike for all you ladies and some of the dudes. Why not? Dude, he's awesome. He takes off the mask and it's Slade freaking Wilson, dude.
And we're wondering, we're like, how did they keep this from us? Like, we really thought this was never going to happen.
I thought it was dead.
You know, this whole time, me and Mike had predictions like, oh, we're going to get Apocalypse. No, we're going to get something different. We're going to get the Legion of Doom.
Or the Injustice League, but I hope it's the Legion of Doom.
I think it's a Doom. I think Injustice League will be more of an
Meanwhile,
after Darkseid.
at the Legion of Doom.
So we're going to get, obviously, Luthor. You get Deathstroke. Taking some wild guesses. Cheetah, because she's been rumored for the next movie.
Sinestro.
Captain Cold. I don't think we're going to get Grodd. I think we'll get Cold.
I don't think we get Captain Cold. I think
because that was the rumor we got for the next Flash movie. I think we get Reverse
Flash first.
I hope so.
I think that's a lot better. Yeah, I think we get Thawne.
That's so much better. And then obviously whoever Cyborg's main bad guy is. Yeah. It's usually Gizmo, but I don't think they're going to use Gizmo. So
yeah, whatever. He was great. But that's fun. Great.
So I think, like I said, overall, be excited after these post-credit scenes, because post-credit scenes do set up something fun for hopefully a future after these part 2s and these flashes, another Justice League movie.
Now, as we're going to continue talking about the movies, I want to get this out of the way. Let me just get my critiques out of the way. I didn't get a chance to earlier on because we were gushing about this movie really fast. For all those asking why I didn't enjoy, not that why I didn't enjoy, the things I didn't enjoy this movie.
The stuff you went in not enjoying and didn't enjoy.
Maybe, perhaps. Steppenwolf, we've been on this podcast for almost half an hour. We haven't talked once about the villain. He's not good.
He's fine. I don't think he's bad.
Not good. So for example, my parents asked me, "Hey, tell us what the movie's about. We'll go watch it anyway. Just tell me what it's about." I like to think I know cinema enough. I think I like to know my lore enough where I could tell somebody the basic gist of a story. Guys, I said, this is just my opinion. This is what I took out of it. I sat there trying to explain what the hell these mother boxes were supposed to do in this movie, what they ended up doing in this movie. Essentially, to me, what I call them is their powers are plot forwarding powers.
It's okay. I'll explain to you what they are after the show.
Because, but like, for anybody who knows the mother box, it's like, essentially, it's a connection to Apocalypse. It has to do with the anti-life matter. It's deep in lore. But
speaking of Apocalypse, that's probably very similar to X-Men Apocalypse, like bad guy.
Sure.
Very forgettable.
Yeah, very forgettable.
Probably not bad, just it's not good.
And it's like it's not.
I admit that it's not good. And but it's not bad, guys.
And if you're gonna sit here and tell me anything other than he was bad, that means every Marvel bad guy is a good bad guy. Because he was on level, if not worse than anybody Marvel's ever produced. And I'm not trying to compare them. What I'm trying to say is bad guy to bad guy. Like, there's no...
He'd be in the middle of the pack for Marvel,
I think you're being very generous, but fine. That's subjective. Film is subjective. Yeah. And, Steppenwolf sounded cool every time he said...
See, I didn't think I guess my expectations were low because I didn't think he sounded that
cool.
And
I knew what
he's a
transition...
term. He's a transitional champion. He's Jinder Mahal. Like,
and the story...
He's not supposed to last.
To me, the story's not good.
That story was good. Well, the Justice League coming together. That's the story.
Yeah, but no, that's not true because there was enough in there where you could see that there was a plot line through. Ray Fisher's cyborg character felt like he had a beeline through the movie, but nobody really knew. So was he ever close to being bad? Was he ever close to being good? Like, I felt like they were teasing that. You never saw the full development of Wonder Woman and Bruce Wayne when it comes to their little will they, won't they. I don't think the story was that. What was Steppenwolf trying to do? Just destroy planets with the mother box, and he wants to go home. Where's his home from? Why? Like,
he's trying to prove something to bring his home to them.
All I'm saying is this is not a strong film when it comes to from script to screen. What it is strong in is it knocks it out of the park. Like, it's fun. It's action packed. The chemistry is phenomenal. Like, there is so much good in this movie. But man, when you have, at least to me, when you have not the greatest of stories, a weak story, just a weak story.
Your opinion.
Yeah. A bad villain. And this is where I want to be very clear. Bad CGI doesn't mean it looks like it's on sci-fi. After coming off of Thor Ragnarok and then watching this movie, like, there's obviously the technology there and the money's there for this to look a little better, to it to not feel so rushed, for the fights to not seem so blurred. That's just my visual. But Alex, you've been yelling at me for 5 days now, and you know what? Maybe it's because I had it in my brain. Shave the damn mustache, Henry Cavill. Like that, shaved the damn mustache.
He's got a contract.
I understand that.
That mustache worth millions of dollars.
I agree, Alex. And of course I'm happy.
Again, to me, it goes like, as soon as the movie ended, You looked at me and we talked about it, and we're like, well, let's ask Nikki, because Nikki didn't know. She's like, until Mike told me, I didn't notice. And then you made the joke of the sign full with the red dot. It's like, if you're not looking for it, you don't notice. And you even look at me, you thought I was lying. I'm like, dude, I didn't notice. You're like, you didn't have your glasses on. I'm like, I wore my glasses, Mike. I just was having so much fun. I didn't remember. And there is a CGI mustache, and maybe you've been doing this a little longer. You're a little more critical when you go in. You kind of sit there looking for these things.
Well, and like I've heard about it.
Kind of an asshole. I don't think if you're going into this movie, you're not going to notice.
But like
Cyborg looks fine.
Cyborg looks fine.
We agree on that. I don't know where that came from. He looks fine.
The CGI doesn't.
He's a robot, guys. Like he's a robot.
They did a better job of making Cyborg than they did of Henry Cavill's mustache. Now, here's my problem with the mustache. It's not that it's not a game changer. What it is, it's a microcosm of what the movie is. It's like the package is almost perfect, and there's just this one blemish that you just can't quite get. Because when you look at least to me, the very first scene in the movie when he's saving and the kids are video recording it for social media, like. He looked like Jack Nicholson's character in Batman when he gets the surgery and he has the pink face on when he meets Vicky Vale.
But how do we know that? I'm pretty sure that might have been recorded before the mustache situation.
No, again, we try not to be
I think we should have.
Like they've already kind of already told you most of the scenes with Henry Cavill were the reshoot scenes.
Well, we don't know exactly which ones still though.
But if he's
we're not going to know until we see the Blu-ray. I think it's one of those situations we're never going to agree on because hindsight's 2020.
Yeah,
so I can't go back and erase it from your memory and see if it was true. You can't go ahead and we can't live in each other's brains. But I think we agree at the end of the day. Watch it. It's fun. Make your own opinion.
And it's very lazy if people just sit there and they try to pick on those type of things to invalidate this movie.
Yeah, watch it. Lazy. Make your own opinion. See what you feel. If you feel the same way, tweet us. Tweet with Mike. You feel the same way with me, tweet at me. But let's have a conversation. It's worth talking about.
Now, we're getting to our scores very soon because I know that's what a lot of people have been talking about.
Well, I mean, I want to hear it. What was your score? Because we had a conversation about this because you had a different day one score to a day two score, and that rarely happens with you to change your score like that.
Okay. Well, for all those wondering, I'm going to put up a video with our scoring system so they officially know exactly what we're coming at.
Yeah.
I walked out of this movie loving it, feeling great, wanting more, needing more. I went to bed, woke up, was a little frustrated with some things. And I went from a 3.5 to a 3 even. We're only going, again, a little spoiler, we're only going 0.5 or the whole number. This is a must-watch. This is a make-your-own-opinion film. This is a fun story that we may never get a closure to after Aquaman or Wonder Woman 2. But at the very least, guys, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Aquaman, and Flash are on a big screen together in a fun movie that's 2 hours long. You don't even feel the time go. So just off of, pure timing, it's a joyride. To me, Alex, it's a 3. It's like anybody who gives it a negative score, I think is going out of their way. It's looking for things to pick on. Yeah, does it have bad CGI? Sure. Yeah, is the plot a little weak? Sure. But you know what's not weak? When you see the main characters on top of the screen. And guess how much of the movie they're on the main screen? All of the movie.
I'll give you the right opinion. Story's good. Story's fine. Story's a Justice League. It's like watching the cartoon. If you like the cartoon, you like the movie. The fun outweighs the bad. If you don't go in looking for the CGI, you won't notice the CGI. And I think it's probably... We talked about it before the show. Logan's a better superhero movie. This is a more fun superhero movie. So I'm going to give him the same score. I'm going to give him 4 out of 5. I think it's the second best DC has to offer. Wonder Woman would be that 4.5 just because it changed the game a little bit. Obviously, my score's right. And I think I'm closer to your 3.5. So I think we're going to give it a consensual 3.75.
We'll go 3.62.
No, I want to go. No, we're going up. We're going up.
We'll go 3.75.
Because without your mustache conspiracy over there, I think this movie wins.
It would have been.
But we're both going to watch it again, actually, this week. So
I'm going to go see it again.
Maybe we'll if it changes, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. And moving forward a little bit from Justice League, what are you thinking? What are you thinking about this? Because there's a lot of stories about this. Obviously, it underperformed at the box office. We don't know what the long-term run is going to be. You think it's going to have a pretty...
I think people were waiting to see it this weekend, yeah.
So you think there might be still some money to be made?
I think 60 to 70 million, yeah.
I think you're pretty nuts. I think it'll make probably around 57 million.
I mean, we both noticed that we were both terribly wrong last week, low and high.
Even, yeah. Now... I don't know what's going to happen with Ben Affleck. I mean, none of us do. We have our theories. We have our dream list of what we would like to see.
Yeah.
We've seen the reports out there.
Possibly Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be great. Any great actor insert into Batman. Wonder Woman, we hope that it still goes under production with Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins under the helm.
Well, I mean, so as of right now, it's official from both ends. So.
And Aquaman, James Wan's movie,
it's in the books.
Jason Momoa's in the books. We're going to get it next year, 13 months, Alex, before the next.
That's probably better. Movie. I think that's better. Give it a little breathing time between all the other Marvel movies coming out. Because, again, I know they're different brands, but to the common people, superheroes are superheroes, I think. So, a lot of X-Men next year, Deadpool. So, I think it's going to be good to give it some time to breathe.
So,
very excited.
With all that in mind, there's no script anymore for Flash. There's nothing in production for
They
Cyborg.
Are excited about it,
sure,
though.
that's all great.
So that's actually better. That maybe it was good we got him now, and now they can kind of write for this character.
And I think for all you listening, I think that's a very optimistic way of looking at it. I see it more as the film underperformed, and they only have 2 films ready in the book. Maybe they don't want to do it. I don't know.
Well,
I hope they go on.
So far, they said WB performed on this morning that they were
going
excited, and they're going forward.
So let me ask you this now, with that in mind. Are they going to do a soft reboot? You have to if you give
possibly,
Batman, right?
But that's the point of the storyline, and that happened in the comics and it happened on the TV show. But I think this is a happy accident where it's like, well, this is what's coming up, and people like the Flash, and he was one of the standouts, and we could throw in a couple soft reboots if we need to. Like we can keep what we like, we can get rid of or opt out some people. So I think it's a happy accident, and it's very good for them actually.
I'm really excited though. All I know is beyond our score. I'm excited for what the future holds. I hope that next year this time when we're discussing Aquaman, that it's one of the next few films coming out that the universe has developed. And you know what? If you need to take a course change, do it. If you need to change Batman, do it. If you need to take time these 13 months to reassess everything, do it. I love these characters. I rather a world where we have to wait a little bit, but we're not told that everything's on permanent hold. Like Green Lantern fans right now had to wait for a little cameo in Justice League.
It was awesome.
And it was amazing.
And we marked out for that 2 seconds.
I don't want to do that again. I don't want to wait years before another Batman. So to me, let's just get this thing on course. Whether we love it or not, let's get this shit back on course.
It. We endorse the movie. We're paid by DC, by the way.
We're totally paid by DC. It's so much so that we talk about the Punisher next year on The Good Brothers.
Mercado Airwaves is brought to you by supporters at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves.
All right, dude. As crazy of a weekend as it was, man, we had Survivor Series. We had Justice League. We also have a little show known as The Punisher.
Like, wow, the same weekend as Justice League. Like,
oh, my goodness.
Like I said, I didn't even go to bed. I was so hyped and giddy for Punisher. I was so tired. But, man, did that show wake you up. It is so different. Even, like, I know all the Marvel shows on Netflix are different. Man, this is even more different.
It almost felt like you were watching something. You were watching like a Jarhead or a like any type of.
Well,
movie.
we compared it to Logan in the sense of like it is a superhero movie.
Yeah.
But it's more just a great movie with the superhero in it, or a vigilante, if you will.
There's a realness to it. Like I hate when people talk about being grounded in the superhero universe because like that's not what that's like saying we got to make baseball a fast game.
Like at this point, it's already established.
With that in mind, Daredevil was very grounded, but watch an episode of Daredevil season 1 and then watch an episode of Punisher. You feel like you're watching Sons of Anarchy, and not in the same with the genre it's in, but like you feel like for some reason you're in the streets of New York.
These are real people. These are
real characters,
and they do a great job. Like obviously, we have a lot of family and friends in the armed services, and I think they do a great job tackling how real it is. Like the kid in the show who's got the PTSD and he goes
Great
crazy.
Storyline,
Like
by the way.
it's like that's the whole point. It's like it never felt like it was dragging. It never felt like they were dragging out episodes of us. It felt like that all needed to be there to describe Frank Castle's story as a vet come back who has nothing to live for but doesn't want to die. So where does he go from here? What does he do?
And then for the first time, and I think John Barenthal does a great job of it. And obviously,
Amazing job,
And
yeah.
obviously, it's a lot easier to develop a character, quote unquote, easier to develop a character when you have 13 episodes to do it. But it's not that it has a lot of time that it does it. It's John Barenthal from his time in The Walking Dead. I don't really remember his work before that, but he's always brought this type of raw emotion that you feel like he really is this type of dude. It's like, he taps into something primal when he's playing Frank Castle, and it's almost unnerving even on television where you're like, man, this dude can snap. And there's something beautiful about incorporating that with the real world PTSD and the real world issues that people have with ignoring veterans.
Exactly, and they tackle all these issues. They tackle the gun problem. And they do it very tastefully, where they don't really pick a side, and they're kind of saying that like both side has its points, but both side has its flaws, and
maybe a little bit too much in your face, where like they tell you it.
And that's okay. So like, man,
at
this time, and I know there was drama coming out because of obviously everything in Vegas, Texas, and Orlando last year.
Our lives essentially in the States.
Exactly, where it was like, is it too soon? And we both agreed like, this stuff's always gonna happen. You can't stop entertainment for that. Like, you just got to try to do it as tastefully as you can and move forward and try to separate it as much as you can and try to let entertainment be your escape, just like we try to be, at the same time not forgetting that this is real world problems.
And I think they do a tasteful job of doing that in the show. Like, they don't glorify mowing down people.
No,
they don't glorify
like this guy's
kills.
not a hero.
Yeah, and he tells you as much. And like, they do a good job of making you feel uneasy and like when you watch Daredevil or Luke Cage beat up somebody, you're like, yeah, get him. It's a
like this isn't like, dude.
No.
You start thinking like, do these guys deserve it? Even he addresses like killing some of these young army boys. He's like, they're just dogs doing what they're told to do.
Because he was one.
And he's like, but I got to kill them because they're in my way. So it was just, again, such a good show.
It was just such a good show, like good season, a good way to do it. I have one major problem,
and I did at the beginning of the season 2. We talked about this. Go ahead.
And my major problem is, and I think you guys are going to see it. I just want to get to it really softly. I want you guys to be able to make up your own mind with that. So I don't want to corrupt it. But you have a character named I literally just blanked out. Medina.
Yeah. Medina.
Yeah, so she's this badass Homeland Security, FBI agent, whatever.
Like young lady, recruited young, all that fun jazz.
And you could tell because my main thing was when I was watching all these episodes was taking out who the director and the writers were. And they do this actress and this character such a disservice, especially in the beginning where, for lack of a better term, she gets honey-dicked. And it literally is one of those things where a good-looking dude is enough to make you a bad agent. And what
she's so oblivious to it.
And it's not even a good oblivious where you're like, I
understand what she's doing, but like the setup you get is she's better than that.
Yeah,
and for some reason it's worse.
Now there is a turn that I felt could have gone one way when you're watching this, when you're watching the season, and I think it made me go more towards like the forgiving side of her. But I totally, leading up throughout the season, I think they completely, like, here's the truth. You've never seen Karen Page have to sleep with anybody.
No, not yet.
And Rosario Dawson literally took 3 seasons of teasing 3 different shows
to get with Luke Cage. Like, she never got with Matt Murdock.
No, and like they tease that, and like it's different type of like, will they, won't they? We see that a lot with in Punisher, even in the Punisher.
Well,
season.
Defenders, we got it from Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, who have done it, but now they're saying that they're going to make it more.
The sex you get at Luke and Jessica Jones compared to the other Netflix shows. It's not used as just for the sake of it because it's hot. You're looking at 2 people.
Exactly. I felt like that the part of this was like, I was watching. I'm like, that's not a little sex scene there. Like, I get it. Like, you're trying to be raw and different, but it was unnecessary because Punisher, and I think they have a great joke with him and his friend. about do you miss sex?
Yeah,
and like,
it's great.
you know, of course he does, and of course he's a man at the end of the day, but he's just so messed up that his rules don't apply to him as much.
And there's realness to that. There's realness to being unavailable, and like
you start feeling so bad for this man.
Legit.
Like, yeah, it's like I said, it's a great show, great binge. Check it out.
It's a total binge show. Again, this complaint is just this was the only complaint I had of the season we
both agreed on.
I had to.
And she does get better.
Yeah.
She doesn't end as bad as the middle kind of makes her seem, and it all does kind of play out in a very nice way. No post credit scene.
Yeah, and I think
I like it. And you know what? Honestly, there was no hints at the bigger Marvel universe.
Well, you know what? That
I
is.
enjoyed it.
You know what? People don't want to admit this, but if we said it about earlier on in the show about DC and Justice League, you know what? Let's be 100% funky with this, Alex. The Marvel Netflix universe has not been all of that in a bag of chips like the MCU, the cinematic universe. Daredevil season 2, Daredevil season 1, some of Jessica Jones for some people, some of Luke Cage,
a lot of halves, a lot of can't stick the landings.
In this one, I remember going into it, it was, 13 episodes, that's too many. I'm like, what are people talking? Yeah, sure. Do they all need to be 56 minutes? No. Like, you could have tightened each episode
Well, that's what's fun about this. They do a few that are only 45, 42. And, you know, surprisingly, people, those 10 minutes when it comes to 13-episode show does make a big difference. Because you add all those time up, that's an hour.
10 minutes.
That's a whole episode that didn't have to be in there, which we got from, you know, Defenders was even a good pace. But sometimes in, like Luke Cage, we both agreed, and you watched Iron Fist. I didn't even put myself through that for how bad it was. It's too many. But I think we both agree that this is up there as one of the best series for the Marvel.
It was better than Defenders. It was better than
Luke
Cage.
It's right there with Daredevil. I think the only thing we like best was Daredevil season 2, because guess what? You get both of them 50-50, and it's amazing.
Shout out, though, to Luke. Like, I love Jessica Jones, the character they developed. I love the social issues that Luke Cage faced.
Luke Cage, the character, is great.
But like everything else, like the show Jessica Jones wasn't that good. She's
phenomenal. It was hard to get into. She's just great.
She's great. Same thing with Iron Fist. Like I like Danny Rand. I like
Theon Greyjoy. Is that who it was?
I know his name. Finn.
Finn Jones, right?
Finn Jones. I like Finn Jones. Like he's a good actor, but I don't know if he's a good actor.
He's a traitor, dude. I don't like him.
Yeah, but I don't know.
So out of 5, what do you give it to?
Yeah,
what do you got? I'll let you go first since you're always wrong anyway.
It's going to be my first one given on the show. I'm going to give it 4.5.
Oh, what? First time, folks, me and Mike agree. Because I think the only show that got a 5 out of 5 was Daredevil season 2, I think, for both of us. So I think this falls right with Daredevil season 1. Like, it's not perfect, but man, that's an A. It's not an A plus, but it's an A.
I will say it would have been a 5 if it were the first in the universe. I think that's why Daredevil stared up.
It came close. It came really close, but like I said, I think the parts we talked about, we agree completely on this one, where some parts were a little necessary. It doesn't run long, but just one of the characters maybe doesn't take the arc we would have liked. But it does end okay. So
I like Karen Page.
Karen Page for the first time is like she made sense.
Yeah, I liked her in this.
The episode where they go backwards in time and forward in time.
Really
great episode. Very violent. That was like probably my favorite episode of the thing. And people are gonna ask, is there a hallway scene? No, but there is a lot of Punisher scenes.
But like, there's
a lot, probably like almost one every episode.
In a weird way, it's almost more tasteful because every death almost matters more. Because he's so vulnerable compared to some of the other people.
Like you see him go through it. He gets hurt. Like
much more than Matt Murdock, which was weird.
Yeah, like he goes through the pain. Every fight he goes through, it's not like he leaves any of them well off. He leaves all of them with a scar or injury.
We do need a specific 10-episode arc of Daredevil and Punisher, though. Like we do need that again. Like we do need that. I'd rather that.
That needs to be part of Daredevil season 3.
You know what? I don't want Defenders 2. You know what I want? I want I was going to call him Finn Jones. I want
Heroes for Hire.
Heroes for Hire with Jessica Jones.
Which rumor is that's what we're going to get for the Iron Fist Luke Cage season 2s.
And I want Punisher and Daredevil.
So we'll see if we get that, but like that would be in a perfect world. That would be it.
So 4.5, huh?
Yeah, we agree. 4.5.
So check it out, Punisher on Netflix. It's a hell of a show, guys. I think you'll really, really enjoy it.
If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. You can follow Alex on Twitter at Mercado21Alex. Mercado Airwaves is brought to you by supporters at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves.
What do you got for me?
Let's end on a little fun game. We're going to go back to Sophie's Choice from our first show, I believe. And
By the way, thank you to all the fans who were interactive with us with the game that we played last show. Kudos to you for getting all the post-credit scenes correct. And kudos for everybody.
Course, I always
you're garbage. And kudos to everybody for being a part of it. And if you guys have any suggestions, please let me know. Actually, Alex, I'm going to do a live production right now. If you go ahead and enter us a question or a game that we could play against each other, I have about 10 signed posters from the movie The Goon 2, which was directed by your boy who's in How to Train Your Dragon and How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Jay?
Yeah. Jay Burchell. I'm sorry, I'm totally messing up your name. I memorized it, but I have posters autographed by him.
Nice deal. And if you give us some games, we'll try them live on the air and see how it goes. But for today, nice Sophie's Choice, old school, new school DC movies. None from the modern movie verse, but we'll do some Nolan. We'll do some of the old school Superman. So your first one, Mike.
Go for it.
Sophie's Choice, reminder for everyone. One movie gets to stay in existence. One movie is banished forever. First one, Superman 3 or Catwoman.
Oh, okay. So would
you rather look at Richard Pryor or Halle Berry?
Oh, man. You know what? Because I'm politically smart, I'm going to go, you know what? Go ahead and kill Catwoman. I'll keep Richard Pryor.
No, I'll go Catwoman.
You're such
There's
garbage.
pretty girls in it.
You're such garbage.
God, Superman 3, though? It's
You only like, what's his name? Benjamin Bratt?
I don't even know who that is. I like Halle Berry.
Okay, whatever. That's
and that blonde chick.
Uh-huh.
Okay, next one's a little better. This one's going to be a little tough one. I want to hear your opinion.
Ass. Yeah, go ahead.
The Dark Knight Rises or Batman Returns?
Oh, okay. So you have
the closing of Nolan's trilogy or the closing of Michael Keaton's 2 movies.
So a Tim Burton flick or
Catwoman Penguin versus Bane.
And Catwoman.
Well, Catwoman was on his side of that.
And Talia.
Well, we all should have known that.
I'll go Dark Knight Rises. This is a better movie.
Nah, Batman Returns, dude.
Okay.
Danny DeVito? Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer?
My parents.
They love dude.
Me.
Oh, I love it. He bites the guy's nose off.
Man.
Oh, I love Danny DeVito. That movie's great.
Does a man not deserve to know his name?
So you've gotten it wrong twice already. That sucks. Hopefully you get these next 3. All right. Back to a little more mediocre. Superman Returns, your favorite movie ever, or Batman Forever?
Oh man! Sorry, Brandon Roth, but you didn't create CEO Kissed by Rose, baby. Oh, what was the question again? Oh, Batman. Yeah, the one that's in the Batman that's in.
We can talk about CEO if we want.
We can. Heidi Klum's husband. Good for him.
We'll agree. Batman Forever, just because you got Jim Carrey, great soundtrack. You get Robin. I like Batman Forever. I don't mind it as much as people. But you know what? I'm the guy. We'll get to it later. I've liked every Batman movie ever, honestly.
Yeah, we were 8 when I
Okay, here's a good one. Let's go versus new school. Batman Begins or the original Superman?
Oh, man. You know what? I I'm looking at my case right now for the Dark Knight trilogy, but it's Superman.
No, I go Batman Begins, man. As a kid, when I first saw that, it was just... Man, I didn't think Batman could get any better from the originals.
I mean, it's amazing. Like, I remember
I do like the original Superman.
Quick story.
But I like Man of Steel better.
Alex and I bought tickets for ourselves and our uncle in 2006 to go watch it. We walked to our local movie theater because we thought we were so cool. And sure enough, we were like, hey, let's go see this Batman movie. Walking out like, wait, Batman is like really cool again. Like again. Like really cool again.
Because we also closed the Batman movie we saw before that.
Christopher Reeve.
Batman and Robin.
Here for truth, justice, and the American way, Lowe's. Come on, man.
No, I got to go Batman Begins. Man.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
And our last one, Green Lantern. Or, again, a very underrated movie, Batman and Robin.
Deadpool. Let's see. So, I have a choice.
We saw Batman and Robin in the movie theaters. People.
I have a choice between a movie that's funny because it's really bad or a movie...
At least it's fun because it's so bad. You get Arnold Schwarzenegger. Fine. Chill.
Just for everybody. Chill.
You get Schwarzenegger. You
chill.
get. Come on.
Like I told Lady Frost before I pulled the plug.
Like Uma Thurman's great in that. You get Batgirl somehow, bat nipples. Alfred's dying.
You got me. Who's got you?
Oh, I love that movie. That movie is one of those movies that if you just watch nowadays, it's so bad. It is good because how bad it is.
I need you.
They race on Gotham.
Friend, brother.
The Batman car, the American Express.
Never leave the Batcave without it. I'm sorry.
Great movie.
Will you help me?
Oh, yeah. Right, we got to stop because we're going to quote. We might do an episode of this, us quoting the entire Batman and Robin, all 3 hours.
All right, Alex, before we go home.
So you lost, by the way.
Yeah, I always lose.
0 to 5. No, you got one right. You got Batman Forever.
I'm losing because I do a show with you. Yeah. So people are going to want to know, dude, if you got to this point of the show, just the last thoughts. I know what your leaving thoughts you want to make of Justice League, of just what was a big movie in the culture, in the fandom, in our childhood in the sense of entertainment. Like, just one last thought.
Thanksgiving break coming up. Go check it out. Watch The Punisher. Binge a few episodes. Check out some Justice League. Do a doubleheader. Do all both. Don't sleep for like 16 hours and just watch both, honestly, which I might do again.
Coffee. Let's do it.
But check them both out. You got some free time this week. It's worth it.
Yeah, guys, it's a fun movie. All criticism aside, all joking aside.
Bring the family.
It's a lot of fun. It's family friendly. You're going to get a lot of kicks out of it. You're going to get a lot of enjoyment out of it. So I highly suggest. And if anything else, there's nothing better than hanging out with the family at the movie theaters. And that's why we love doing what we do here, because we get a chance to talk about it. But it's a jam-packed episode, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this spoiler review of Justice League, for being a part of this review, this discussion of The Punisher. We really want you to be a part of the conversation. We want to know what you thought. What did you think about the violence in Punisher? Did you think it was over the top? What did you think about the 13-episode run? What about Justice League? How are you feeling about it underperforming? Doesn't matter if it underperformed if you enjoyed the film. What do you think is the future of the DCEU? And what do you think will happen with Batman and Ben Affleck's saga as we continue to go on? Alex and I are all over the universe. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Do us a huge favor. Rate, review, like, and share us on iTunes. It means the world to us, guys. That's iTunes.com/Mercado Airwaves. We're on Patreon. Everything that you hear on the network is brought to you by our amazing producers over at Patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. You can be a part of the conversation. You can watch all of our single shows on YouTube. Just subscribe to youtube.com/Mike Mercado 2333. For the good brother, Alex Mercado.
When in doubt, Merc it out, y'all.
I'm Mike Mercado. Thank you so much. You've been on The Good Brothers here on Mercado Airwaves. See you next week, guys.
Thanks for joining us here on The Good Brothers, here on Mercado Airwaves.